Alright, hello and welcome back to another killer video. Now today we're going to be playing a little bit of the Shape, Michael Myers of course. And Michael's definitely one of the more straightforward killers in the game. He doesn't necessarily have some crazy counterplays that you can do with, that you might be able to do with killers such as Huntress or Hag or Trapper. And for that reason, I really haven't been playing him as much recently, but he's still a fun killer once you can get the ball rolling out of early game. Now let's get right into the build. Today we're going to be running barbecue and chili. So whenever I hook any survivors that are 40 meters or more away from the hook are revealed to me for 4 seconds. And for each individual survivor I hook, I actually get 25% extra blood points at the end of the game, meaning I can get up to 64,000 blood points as opposed to the normal 32,000. Now this perk is mostly going to be used for me to control how the game goes, know where everybody is, so that I can make decisions based off of that. Next up, we have Infectious Fright. So with this perk, whenever I down somebody, if there's any survivors in my terror radius and my heartbeat range, they'll they'll have a little scream once I down somebody, and essentially that scream shows me where they are at that split second, and it'll give me a good idea of where to keep going, whether I need to keep a slug going to keep chasing someone else, or something else this perk does is it allows you to know whether or not you can pick people up right away, and you can be careful about flashlights and pallet saves because it'll tell you if there's people nearby or not. Next up, we have one of Michael's own perks, Save the Best for Last. Now, what this perk does is it grants you an obsession, and as you start hitting people that aren't that obsession, you start gaining tokens, all the way up to 8 tokens. And each one of these tokens makes your cooldown 5% faster whenever you hit somebody successfully. Essentially what this means is when you get all the way up to 8 tokens, when you hit somebody, you recover from that 40% faster, meaning you can get right in chase a lot more quickly rather. Now you do lose 2 tokens every time you hit the obsession, so Michael actually does a pretty good job of using this perk because he can pop his tier 3 and only have to hit the obsession 1 time, meaning you only lose 2 tokens as opposed to the regular 4 you might have to do otherwise. And then last but not least, we're going to be using Monitor and Abuse, and Monitor and Abuse on its own I think is a pretty decent perk. What it does essentially is it decreases your terror radius by 8 meters if you're not in a chase, and it increases it by 8 if you are in a chase. So if you were a regular killer, when you have Modern Abuse and you're not in a chase, your terror radius goes from 32 to 24, and when you're in a chase it goes from 32 to 40. Now I think Michael is one of the best killers to run with this, because in tier 2 his terror radius is 16 meters, meaning with Modern Abuse he has an 8 meter terror radius by default whenever he's not in a chase. It allows you to sneak up on people, and then once you get in a chase and you're in tier 3, what this perk does is it makes your terror radius 40 meters, because in tier 3 you go back to the 32 meter terror radius. So for 40 meters you'll be one-shotting people, or sorry, when you're in tier 3 you'll be one-shotting people with the 40 meter terror radius, and within 40 meters of you, whenever you down somebody, you'll be able to know if there's a survivor that you can keep on chase and to keep your tier 3 going, essentially thanks to Infectious Fright. It's a really good perk combo, and you see a lot of very good killer players end up using these at some point or another. Now for add-ons, we have the Dead Rabbit, which moderately increases the terror radius when I'm in evil within 3, and it moderately decreases it when I'm evil within 2. So essentially what this means is that 8 meter terror radius in tier 2 that I get while being out of a chase gets decreased even further. I believe it's either to 6 or 4 meters. So essentially I have almost no terror radius in tier 2. And then when I'm in tier 3, what it does is it makes my terror radius even larger. So, and I believe it's about either 42 or 44 total once you get Modern Abuse stacked up with it. So what this does, it allows me to know where people are on the map whenever I'm in tier 3, and whenever I'm in tier 2 it allows me to sneak up on people even more effectively. And last but not least, for the add-ons, we have the Hairbrush, so that it moderately increases the duration of evil within 3. It makes it a little bit over 60 seconds, which is what its default is, and it just allows me that extra opportunity to try and get some last minute hits with the tier 3. But with this upside, of course, it comes a downside where it actually slightly increases the amount of evil within, the amount of stock you have to get into evil within 3 for the first time. Yeah, let's get right into the build.